Here at Club Fed, today's video is all about the medical system in the federal prison system. Watch. Hi, this is Sean from Club Fed True Stories. Thanks for watching. Today's video is going to be all about the medical services and the dental services in the federal prison system. But I can't speak for all prisons. I did my time at Florence Federal Prison Camp in Florence, Colorado. The complex I was at had a satellite camp. We had a medium facility. We had a penitentiary. And we had the ADX Supermax. So my experience is only at the camp. But if you haven't heard about medical services in all prisons and all jails, if you watch the news, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I've heard it referred to worse than a third world country's medical program. So some things are okay. Some things are really bad. And if you don't know, my name is Sean Cowgill. I did a 52-month sentence for wire fraud. I defrauded the government by filing income tax returns for homeless people and drug addicts and got them all kinds of money. And now I owe the government $1.7 million. That's the amount of refunds I got for those people. I took 20%. They got 80%. I have to pay it all back. I got out of prison last year. I'm still trying to finish off my federal probation. I got 2 years left of that. And I make videos to help the person that might be going through what I've been through. The white-collar criminals, the non-violent criminals. Yes, that includes lots of drug dealers and not just the white-collar criminals, but people that are looking at doing their time at a camp or a low, or if you just have questions. Does Club Fed exist? For me, it existed. If I was never a high middle class American or nothing, so it might not be Club Fed to somebody who makes $100 grand a year, but from a working guy who makes $12 an hour, having to do time in a federal prison camp was Club Fed to me. Not a country club, but Club Fed nonetheless. So here I'm talking about the medical services, dental plans. So when I went into prison, my first day, first thing you do, if you're going to self-surrender to a prison, bring your prescriptions with you. If you have paperwork, if you have your medical files, bring those too. I have high blood pressure, so I had 2 kinds of medications. Now, there's some good things about the medical services. Since I brought in my medications, they didn't let me keep them. They said they're going to issue their own medications. But they did that the next day. They told me to take whatever medications I need for today in front of them and take them. And they would have my medications by tomorrow. And they did that. If you come in to prison with a pre-existing condition, everything's going to remain the same. That's actually a good thing that they do. They keep up with your pre-existing medications. If you have heart pills you take, people that take insulin for diabetes, there was quite a few of them at the camp. They're going to continue all that for you. We got guys that come in with no legs. And, I mean, you'd be surprised. There was probably at least 10 people with no legs, another 10 people with wheelchairs. And they took care of them. If you need a surgery, so when I came into prison, I had a hernia. I had a thing sticking out of my belly button. So I needed the surgery, but I didn't have enough time before prison to get the surgery done. So I waited to have the government pay for it. Well, it was on a waiting list for 9 months to get my hernia surgery. Now, I still worked while I had the hernia. I just couldn't bend all the way down and do certain things. But when the 9 months came and I had my surgery, it wasn't that bad because I was a camper. So I didn't have to get shackled and handcuffed and, carted off in a secure vehicle and taken to a hospital by 2 guards and then handcuffed in the hospital and all that. We just got in a car. There was 3 of us that went. A couple guys had some other kind of surgeries going. So we just got in a car, and an officer drove us. Sometimes the inmate drives you to the hospital. We have a town driver. And they took us to a little clinic, little surgery clinic. We were in and out in 4 hours. They did their snip on me, and luckily I didn't have to have a mesh. They did a little incision and fixed my hernia, and I was back in time for dinner. As far as pain pills go, after surgery, they're not too keen on that. They gave me 3 days worth of Percocets, and I had to stand in the pill line, and they'll crush them up in a little cup, and they'll make you drink them in front of them, so you can't take anything back and sell. But if you have a surgery, you need a surgery like a knee surgery or a back surgery, man, it's a year's waiting list. It's a 2-year waiting list. So I've heard horror stories. I've heard about the guy that his battery went out on his pacemaker, and supposedly they put an order in for one, and he has to go to surgery to have that. You know, they don't just give you the battery and you open up your chest and stick it in. There's a surgery involved. Well, the guy died before the surgery came about because it's like a year wait, even for something like that. If you are in dire need of medication, so the word on the street at the camp is if you really need to go to a hospital then and there and you're having a heart attack, you need to do it in front of a guard, and you need to just collapse in front of them. That's the only way they're ever going to call an ambulance. I've seen a couple people die at the Florence prison camp from medical conditions. There was a guy they found out passed out in the shower, blood all coming out of his mouth and everything. And he had been complaining, and he had been trying to see a doctor, and they never actually got him the proper medical help, and he died. And there's a few guys like that. I've seen people just die of old age in their 80s and 90s. Yeah, they don't care how old you are. The feds, they'll send you. Could be 92 years old, and if you did the crime and they indicted you, they're going to send you. When you're that old, though, a lot of times they have these special federal facilities. They're called MCCs. It's Metropolitan Correctional Centers. I thought the MCC would stand for medical, but it's the big buildings like you see in the downtown area. You see a big county jail. They kind of look like that. These medical facilities that they send people to usually never come back. They're kind of death camps. If your medical condition is that severe that you need constant 24-hour medical, it's a federal nursing home, and most people don't survive those because they've got such severe medical health problems that either they need to be in a nursing home, but now they've committed a crime. And you got 90-year-old men dealing meth, believe it or not, and they get caught, and they go to federal prison. And if their health is that bad, they send them to one of these facilities, and it's all indoor. It's lockdown facilities. If you want to get out of prison a year early, we used to have a sign in a couple of the hallways, the buildings that I lived at in Florence, said to work at the MCC Chicago. If you were willing to be an orderly, they would give you a year off your sentence, and you had to at least have 2 years left on your time, and they would ship you off to Chicago, and you would be an orderly. You'll be changing people's bedpans, you'll be cleaning up after the inmates, you'll be feeding them and changing their diapers, changing their clothes, and you're going to be one of those orderlies like that. And if you're willing to do that for 2 years, they give you a year off your sentence. So that's one way to get out early. You need to be in prison first to apply for that, and you go talk to your case manager or your unit director. I don't know if that's worth a year off for me, but for some people it is. There's also RDAP, you get a year off. There's a couple prisons that they had flyers for if you're willing to go be. I know Seattle, SeaTac. So they took about 10 inmates once that applied for that, and they were going to go work over there as like trustees. They were just going to do labor work because I guess it's a lockdown facility, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a transport center. So the inmates that they have there are not long term. They're transporting. They keep them there until they transport them somewhere else. But they have no inmates to do the work that needs to be done. So these 10 guys went over there, and they were supposed to get a year off their sentence too. So there are ways to get time off, but you usually got to work for it. There's road crews that go pave the highways, and they get a year off their sentence. And they stay in motels. Sometimes they'll stay at the nearest correctional center, but a lot of times they stay at motels. And there's always guards around with them, but these are the campers. They get a year off their sentence. So there are ways to get time off, but you got to be willing to work for it. So the doctors at our camp, there was a Dr. Oba, a real nice guy. He would sit and talk to you for an hour, and he would talk about your medical problem, and he was really amazed with the whole prison system. Kind of reminded me of me, because I always tripped on all the little things in prison and how this is done and how that's done. And wow, they have this here and they have that here. And, I was always fascinated with prison movies. Growing up, I got my wish. I got to go to prison and see one. Oh, I wish I never got that wish. But thank God I went to a camp. If you get sick at a camp, because I made this video because I'm feeling a little sick today. I got a runny nose. Maybe I got a fever. A little trouble breathing, but I smoked cigarettes that could be within. And so I made an appointment to go get the coronavirus test. I got an appointment Friday. That's 2 days after this video. And I hope I don't have the virus. I hope I just got a cold. But it reminded me when I got sick at a camp. Because I got sick a couple times there. So most of us have jobs at a camp. So let's say I'm supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, there's no way to call your boss. We don't. Some people have cell phones, but you wouldn't use that to call your boss. So I worked over at the ADX Supermax, and so I would tell some of the guys that are going to work for me that, hey, I'm going to sick call today. Let the bosses know I'm not coming in. I'm sick. And then you hear it later from them. They think you're just trying to get out of work. And sometimes I was. There's days you just don't want to go to work in prison. But so they got sick call 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. You got to get there at 6 in the morning. And they're going to have, you go to pill call. You stand in line with all the guys getting their insulin shots and their pills and stuff. You stand in line, and there's a nurse there handing out the medications, and you tell her, I'm here for sick call. So she'll give you a piece of paper, you sign your name on it, and they'll tell you to have a seat and wait. Sometimes they'll let you go to breakfast first and come back, and then they're going to call you to see the doctor. Because the doctor is not on the grounds 24 hours a day. Across the street at the FCI Medium and at the penitentiary, I believe they have a doctor there at least, 8 to 5 every day, if not 24 hours. Those guys are always stabbing each other and fighting, and so they need doctors all the time. They have full-time doctors. At camp, we have a part-time doctor who comes across the street. So 4 days a week, the doctor will see you. But they only take the first 10 people. Sometimes they might take the first 20 people. On the 10 to 20 people. And if you don't get there early enough, if there's 22 people there, they're going to tell you, sorry, we're only taking 10 people today. Go back to your, home, go back to your bed or go to work. Too bad. And you get out a fever of 103 degrees and they know what they're not going to do anything for you. It really sucks. They tell you, no, go away, come back tomorrow. And you got to go deal with it. I mean, if you're that bad, you could go to the warden's office and bang on her door, or go up to the CO's at the front office and, I'm really sick and they won't see me, I guess, but normally they're going to tell you that's too bad. You should have showed up early. You know the rule. And I did show up early, but there was still 15 people ahead of me when I got there at 5:45. Oh, well, that's just the way it is. So your medications, so I got high blood pressure medication. So the good thing, at least for the campers, is I don't have to go to pill call every day, because they have pill call at 6 in the morning and pill call at 3 in the afternoon. These I got to keep with me in my bed, in my locker, and they were really, really good at refilling them. So I'd get a 30-day refill, and on the 25th day, they're 5 days early. I always got my refills, and I've never heard of anybody running out of their medications. So they are good at that. They actually had a pharmacy on site. So on our complex, we had the satellite camp, we have the FCI medium, we have the USP penitentiary, we have the Supermax. There's a big training center and administration building. That's another one. And then there's this building in the middle of the parking lot, and it's a pharmacy. They actually have their own pharmacy. So any prescriptions are out of that pharmacy. I don't think they actually make the medications there, but they distribute them there. It's kind of like a federal Walgreens. When it comes to, let's see. So the guys, the inmates that I knew with one leg, a bunch of them got their prosthetics. Then they had to wait a year. One guy had to wait 2 years. One guy got, when he finally got it, it was used, used prosthetics, but they got it. And I've seen guys get knee surgeries and, back surgeries done, but they had to wait a year or two. But they sent them to a hospital, and a couple of guys I knew that had their surgeries done in a hospital, they were gone 5 days. And they came back telling me happy stories that they got to stay in their own room with a TV, and they ate really good food and milkshakes and hamburgers and anything they wanted from the hospital, and the staff was really nice. And a couple of them told me they even had their visitors could come, their family could come and see them while they're in the hospital. This won't happen if you're an inmate at a medium or a penitentiary. You're going to be handcuffed and chained everywhere you go. But these guys were at the hospital with no guard, anything. I guess they could have escaped from the hospital anytime they want. But see, we don't have fences at a camp, so you can escape anytime you want anyways. You know what I mean? We have no fences. We don't have a yard at a camp. There's no yard. It's a big college campus. We have a big track and field and a baseball field, and there's tennis courts, there's bocce ball, horseshoe pit, volleyball court, all these outdoor classrooms and courtyards to walk around, but there's no yard. We don't have that. We don't have a lot of penitentiaries and all. They have this hourly move, like I guess some kind of alarm goes off, and every hour is when they can move, to the yard, to the TV room, to here, to there, wherever they're going to go. We don't have that luck. We just come and go all we want. There's a couple counts here. 10 a.m. count in the morning and a 4 o'clock count in the afternoon. You got to be back at your bed for that. But other than that, you just come and go all you want. And I'm not trying to glamorize prison, but if you go into a camp or a low, it's a whole nother world. Like I've said in lots of my videos, we don't have the politics. There's a little bit of politics, but there's no race gangs. There's no cars to join. You don't have to show your paperwork. And camps don't allow pedophiles. Thank God. You got any if you're a child molester, you're not coming to a camp. Although maybe there could have been one or two that slipped through the cracks that didn't get caught for that, but got caught for something else. But I didn't see them. And so, most guys at a camp, you're not going to see a lot of tattoos. Nobody gets shanked. Nobody gets killed. A couple guys told me they found out that we could take a nap during the day in the camp. And you guys get to take a nap? And I go, what, you can't take a nap over there at the penitentiary? Fuck no. We take a nap, somebody's going to come in and kill us and stab us. It's that bad over there? You can't sleep in your own bed? Somebody will come and stab you while you're sleeping? Fuck, I'm glad I didn't go to a penitentiary. I wouldn't have made it. So let me talk about the dental. So you get your teeth cleaned once a year. So I was there almost 3 years. I only got my teeth cleaned once. Yet they said they had me on the list to keep it going, but never did. They do some cavity refills. They'll do some root canals. I've heard of some guys getting a whole bridge done and all that. But again, that's a waiting list, 1-2 year waiting list. And these waiting lists for surgeries, if you're due to get out, like say January 1st, but they've got a surgery set up for you in March, you're staying till March. You're on a medical hold. You can lose all your good time waiting. I've heard of guys, their good time was used up, and they're supposed to be released now. They're free, still held them because they insisted on having that surgery. So if you're going to get surgery and you're only doing a year, don't even bother, because they'll hold you longer. If you're doing 5 years and you need a surgery, make sure that surgery, plan for waiting at least a year, and don't have it interfere with your release day, because they can hold you on a medical hold, and they don't mind doing that. So what else I got here? And I think that's really about all I can think of. The pill call line, if you have diabetes and you have to have injections, they don't let you take that back to your bed. But like I said, your medications, bring them with you. Bring your paperwork when you self-surrender, and they will make sure that your pre-existing conditions will continue. If you have those sleep apnea things, the masks that people wear, there was quite a few of those at the camp, at least 20 of those, and a lot of guys get those, and there's a waiting list for that. But if you already have one, you bring it with you when you self-surrender, and they'll accommodate you for that. So that's it for the medical. It's the good, it's the bad, it's the ugly. That's all I can say. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe, hit the like button, share this video, leave me a comment. My number's on there. Check out my list of on my description. There's all kinds of links to character reference letters, how to get an RDAP, how to email an inmate, how to send money, all that kind of stuff. A whole bunch of good links. They're all free. Thank you guys very much.